If you offer me a job and I find out my manager, my direct supervisor is going to be a minority, babe, keep that DEI hire and keep that job offer too. I prefer to work under white men, okay? White, middle-aged, men with a family, AARP eligible, the ones that got the AAA, the ones that eat off the IHOP 55 plus menu, you know what I mean? The Medicare eligible ones, give me that. Give me that. Because as far as I'm concerned, the minorities, they like to make you pay back the dues that they had to pay in 1987 when they first got their job as the model minority. And they want to make sure that you have to do it too. Meanwhile, white man, he sees me, he goes, yep, let me give you this special project. What do you need? What's going to advance your career? How can I help you? None of the passive aggressiveness, none of the micromanaging, none of that extra shit, right? Give me Jim, Bob, Bill, give me that. Don't give me the minority, because as far as I'm concerned, anybody that looks like me or identifies as somebody who would be a DEI hire, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not with it. I'm not with it. Y'all got a chip on y'all shoulder that I personally do not have the brain power to deal with. So as far as I'm concerned, hand me to the nearest white man. Thank you.
This video triggered me because I want so badly for her to be wrong. My very own lived experience is that the two people who were responsible for my career literally launching off the platform were named Corey and Phil. And yes, they were. If you're asking me what they were, go back and watch her video. But yep, they were. And when I tell you special projects, temporary assignments, mentoring, everything that I needed to move forward in my career, the leaps and bounds that I took were when I was underneath a Corey and a Phil. And that is what it is.
What's up, everybody, and welcome on another episode. That is a video of a lady stating that she would rather have a white manager than having a black one. And, it got the internet exploded a little bit. It caused a lot of, opinion. It sparked a lot of opinion from people and even others coming online to share their experience working with both black managers and white managers. She spilled the tea why she would prefer a white manager. The tea that she spilled, not everyone disagreed. There are some people disagreeing with her, but not everyone disagreed. One stated that black managers sometimes act like the final boss in a video game. They have the mentality that because I suffered to get here, you have to. Someone even said, I want a mental health daybreak, not a flashback to civil rights movement. But jokes aside, this is a real conversation. A lot of elderly black people in the workplace, they've had it rough. They have fought through stereotypes, racism, zero representation. But instead of opening the door and making it easy for the people coming, they kind of slam the door. And, it's just ingrained in their head that if you want to get here, you have to go through the things that I have to go through. You have to step on the thorns that I step on, because you can't just have it easy. I didn't have it easy to get here. This makes it seem like a twisted corporate Hunger game. A lot of people are coming into this lady conversation. Like I said, the tea she spilled, not everyone disagreed. So without wasting much time, let's get straight into it.
So Toni Childs hopped on the internet and says she prefers to work for white men. Don't give her the DEI hire. She wants a white man telling her what to do. She prefers to make sure that a white man is the one who is leading over her. And honey, I have to tell you something. The reason that you prefer that is not the way you think it is. Quite honestly, it's the quite opposite. You're not a threat to that white man's position. That's why you are more likely to feel successful, because he's going to work more with you because he sees you more as his assistant in servitude, if you will. And this is not for everyone. I'm not saying this is like that for everywhere, but quite honestly, go ahead, give me the minority company. Let me work with minorities. I quite honestly prefer diversity. I don't know what Toni was saying, but I rather work with diversity because people know struggle. You have to understand that what you work around and what you put your career around, that is a direct reflection on what you're willing to put up with, honey. And that to me wasn't she wasn't eating what she thought she was.
Peace. Usually when I see two black women having a disagreement, especially in public, and especially when that disagreement between those two black women balloons up into a group of black women versus another group of black women, and they are both decidedly entrenched in their opinions, that's my cue to not intervene, to mind my own black male business. Y'all got it. Usually. I say usually. So hopefully y'all extend me a little bit of grace this time to kind of scooch on in here and get a little bit of opinion, just a little bit, if you don't mind. Now, instead of putting words in anybody's mouth, I'm going to show you the two opposing sides in their own words.
If you offer me a job and I find out my manager, my direct supervisor is going to be a minority, babe, keep that DEI hire and keep that job offer too. I prefer to work under white men, okay?
So Tony Childs hopped on the internet and says she prefers to work for white men. Don't give her the DEI hire. She wants a white man telling her what to do.
Because as far as I'm concerned, the minorities, they like to make you pay back the dues that they had to pay in 1987 when they first got their job as the model minority. And they want to make sure that you have to do it too.
Honey, I have to tell you something. The reason that you prefer that is not the way you think it is. Quite honestly, it's the quite opposite. You're not a threat to that white man's position.
I'm not with it. Y'all got a chip on y'all shoulder that I personally do not have the brain power to deal with. So as far as I'm concerned, hand me to the nearest white man. Thank you.
Go ahead, give me the minority company. Let me work with minorities. I quite honestly prefer diversity. I don't know what Tony was saying, but I'd rather work with diversity because people know struggle.
If I could drop my little 2 cents in the offering plate, here goes. Without directly co-signing or opposing either side of this debate, I just want to humbly offer y'all a little bit of my own personal lived experience with this topic from a different perspective. Full disclosure, I don't have a boss because I work with you, not for you. But when I did have traditional bosses, managers, people in positions of authority above me in a hierarchy, there was one demographic that was superior to them all. This demographic is responsible for most of the promotions and increase in pay that I've ever had. This demographic saw to it that I worked straight through the pandemic uninterrupted. I was literally contracted to do an event and I gave them my then asking price. This demographic said absolutely not. They're not going to pay me that. And there I was thinking I had priced myself out of an opportunity. They responded, I can't in good conscience pay you that amount of money knowing that you deserve so much more. This person paid me 3 times the amount of money that I had asked for. Little did I know I was undervaluing myself. To this day, that demographic has remained the same. So far be it from me, little old me, to intervene and dictate to black women who is or isn't the ideal boss for y'all. I can only tell y'all that while no one is the boss of me, when I did have a boss, the ideal boss for me was y'all. We out here.
If you offer me a job and I find out my manager, my direct supervisor is going to be a minority, babe, keep that DEI hire and keep that job offer too. I prefer to work under white men.
Lock in, fuck niggas. We about to fact check this shit. First, if you fuck with me, make sure you hit that follow button. Let's get it. What the hell are you talking about? The first thing we need to understand is that black people, including black women, are not a monolith. And the fact that you think a white man would advance your career more than a black woman is statistically not true. First, black women are more likely to face workplace challenges than white women. Things like aggression, harassment, even discrimination. A Harvard study last year also showed that black women are more likely to leave their position when they're in a predominantly white team. Research also shows that black women are more likely to be passed over promotion. And the main reason is the leadership prototype. Leadership prototype is basically the company's idea of who's going to be leading the company or even management. In most companies, leadership prototype is a white man. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that your white boss did not help advance your career. And for a black woman to have that, that's a tremendous thing. I'm glad that you had that. But that's your experience. And to use your experience to know that black men do better jobs at advancing black women's career is literally anti-black.
Meanwhile, white man, he sees me, he goes, yep, let me give you this special project. What do you need? What's going to advance your career? How can
And if I can take it a step further, I don't do black women doctors either. Most of the professors that I even had in undergrad that were black women had a point to prove, and I went to a predominantly, well, maybe it's not predominantly, but I went to a white-ish school in a white-ish area. It's like they all have this weird vendetta to try and make you work hard. I had black managers, that Nigerian managers, she'll probably see this actually, who made it their mission to try and work me harder than they needed to, and it was never that serious. It was never that serious. And I'm not really saying all hail the white man because it's down with the patriarchy. But I will say, like, in terms of trying to get you places, or just they're not as like rigid or as on you as they need to be, because I feel like they feel like they can trust you with whatever you need, and so they'll give you a task and they'll just be super happy that you did it, not necessarily trying to like stand on top of you to get it done the way that black women specifically will try and step on top of your head to do it. Give me a white man.
Meanwhile, white man, he sees me, he goes, yep, let me give you this special project.
Oh, damn. Well, I had a black manager and he was a Daryl. Yep, he was a Daryl. Yep, he was a black manager. He let me do what I wanted to. We was creative. We broke numbers. We set records. One employee of the month. He was a Daryl. Yep. I don't know. And I'm going to tell you something, a little background. I feel like reason why Daryl was a great manager, one, because he had a stable household. He had a wife. At the time, I think his wife was a stay-at-home wife. So he came to work. We worked a night shift. He was a vibe. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't no stressed out type of aggressive alpha black man. He was just a normal black man. He had glasses. He was a Daryl. Like, real talk. I was able to bring numbers at that company. And so I don't want to say that that's a black man thing. And he had a mom. And I think he had a good relationship with his mom. So I just think it's going to be the new black man, probably not. Mind you, that was over 10 years ago. And then I think he was almost like maybe 35, 40. I don't know, Darren, if you see this, but I think he was grown. And so I think that was it, but he was a Daryl. Y'all ain't finna sit there and act like some black men open doors for you. Some of them understand that if you get to be your highest potential, they get to be his highest potential. My numbers reflected his numbers. So he allowed me to manage my team. He allowed me to get up every day. Our song on our team was this a no flex zone, so we'll start our day with music. You know what I'm saying? It was a vibe on our floor. So I think that you have to be with somebody who, and I think the dude loved what he do, and he knew his job. So sometimes if they're not confident in their job, I don't think they'll allow you to be confident in your role. So, and he was a Daryl. So I want to keep reminding y'all, he was a Daryl. So the thing is, it's going to be about your manager, but he allowed me to be as creative with my team. We was the first night team to ever be number one consistently in numbers. So when my numbers go up, his numbers go up. If he let me look good, then he'll look good. And I think that that's a mindset. But anyway, all right, toodles. So I was getting ready to edit this, and I saw a little part I want to add in, because the girl was talking about how her white team manager was putting her in rooms. Daryl put me in rooms. Daryl made sure I was recognized as employee of the month. That put me in the rooms, and I was able to be on different boards. I was on diversity and inclusion board. They're on the diversity and inclusion board. I was able to implement bring your parents to work day, and that was something that went to the company's website. Like, I want to tell you that he did put me in rooms. He did not see me as a threat, and he just let me just be a young ADHD minded employee. And I think that's another thing. You got to get to know your employees and how they brain function and pull out some of those great things that they have in there. That's the beauty of being a manager. If you do not know how to recognize talent and hidden talent, hidden potentials, you got to be able to say they may not be good at the whole job, but they may be good at the numbers. They may be good at reading the data. They may be good at telling your team how to make goals and break stuff down. They may not be good at soft skills. So that's what I'm saying. You have to be able to be a manager. Y'all forgetting now that these people that work for you don't work for you. They need to work with you. And then, not even on top of that, because I ain't finna go into no preaching mode, but I'm going to say this too. You spend more time with the people at your job than you do with your family. That's why relationships at work be so entwined, for lack of better words, because of how much time you spend at your job. So I'm just here to say this. You gotta get to know your people and pull out talents, and that's what's gonna make you better as a supervisor. Them people do need to like you. But I'm gonna come back on a story time where I had an employee. She had sent me. Oh my God. I was gonna be gone. I was gonna be gone. I was gonna be a main character at an event on a Saturday, but that's another story time.
Listening to these speeches and what people are saying in general regarding this conversation, as you guys have seen, some agree, some are sharing their experience as well, and there are some people as well disagreeing to it. Listening to what these people have to say, I can say it is even more, it is far beyond white boss versus black boss. It is even a conversation on how power can change people. Some black managers climb the corporate ladder in a very hard, where they had to work twice as hard, shrink themselves, and constantly have to prove themselves that they can get the job done. When they finally get into leadership, subconsciously pass down the same struggle like a right to pass it. I suffer, then you should suffer as well. I didn't have it easy. There is no justification as to why you have to have it easy. Thing is, that is not a leadership. That is not a leading people. That is basically just a trauma in the corporate spaces of black people recycling itself. Like, that is just how I say it. But on the other hand, comparing to white managers, I do not think white managers are going to have the same cultural pressure that black managers are going to have. Most of the time, they just want to get the job done. Like, they just want the job to be done and get over with it. No extra baggage. And this is going to seem something like freedom for someone who have been coming from a black manager that always want you to hand that freedom. Like, this is where the conversation really is. This conversation is not about race alone. It's about how black people will lead when they finally get a table. Are they building fences or bridges? Are they like torturing people to a point of burnout? Like, just because they've been through it, you have to go through it as well. Because if this goes on and on, begin to become a gatekeeper in the very system that they are trying to survive. Because on the other hand, there can be a black manager that wants you to earn every single freedom. And on the other hand, there can be even like Mike from like finance department that just, sign this thing for you, even with a smiley emoji. And you will feel like, oh, this is freedom. Why am I stressing myself working with a black manager when a white manager is literally making it very seamless for me? What do you guys think about this conversation? What do you think about trauma recycling and the corporate system, especially when it has to do with black people? What do you think about them having to subconsciously feel like you have to go through it as well because they went through it? We already know the system was not really favorable for them. We know they have had to outdo themselves. We know they have had to prove a point over and over again. Like, when you see other people getting it easy that look like you might feel a certain way. So let me hear what you guys think about this whole conversation in the comment section. Let me hear what you think about the points that all of these people are making. And I am going to see you guys in the next one.